Hey folks, my guest today is DS Benbow. He's building a great tool called Medici. It's helping folks in the workplace collaboration space. He got a team and need insights. He's your guy. He's a founder of the business and He started by focusing on delivering a world-class predictive work platform that passively collects and objectively assesses how people and teams work and collaborate. Before this, he worked in the capacity of product marketing and strategy at a number of enterprise companies, startups, and agencies, including Microsoft, AT&T, Zillow, and WPP. DS, you ready to take the top?
Let's kick it off.
All right, man. So if you want to follow along, the website URL is META, like meta, and then CHI.com. When did you guys launch?
It's been about 5 years now. It's slow growing, and then we just started to accelerate recently.
Tell me more about the growth. Where did the first customer come from? Do you remember?
First customer actually came from family. My mom had a consulting company at the time where she traveled a lot and had a number of distributed workforce. And this was our first place where we actually implemented the solution. The second was a friend of mine was running for mayor of Seattle. And for his campaign, in terms of, again, a distributed workforce, we implemented Medici versus one of the more known name brand companies at the time.
So what year was that? When do you launch the first products?
Well, we've kind of been in, I would argue, incubation for a while. We kind of slow rolled it because we were bootstrapping. But then, like 5 years ago, we started to spend more money, add contractors, and then that's when it really started to take off. So there's like the start of the idea date, and then there's we're really going to make something happen date. So
well, let me ask you this: how much of your own money or investors' money did you spend, or your bootstrap, so your own money, did you spend before you had your first dollar of revenue? How big was the risk?
Easily over $100K.
And what costs so much? Software is supposed to be cheap to get off the ground. Where was it expensive?
Well, there's the hosting, there's contractors, there's the design work, and we spent money on a variety of contractors in those spaces. So,
And now, how many folks are full time today at the company?
Today we have two.
Two people. Okay, I know. What are you guys, an engineer?
Yeah.
Are you the engineer or are you the business? Are you the engineer or business?
I'm the product guy, and my engineer is literally a rocket scientist. He went to graduate school and got his master's in aeronautical engineering from the University of Mississippi. Yeah,
that is great. Okay, so tell me why are people so excited about you? What are they buying? Tell me about the product.
Sure. So one of the things that we've experienced in the pandemic, especially in 2020, is we have a distributed workforce. We can't help that. But how do we continue to maintain some of the operational, either rigor or operational ways of doing things that we had when we were in person? And when you think about employee satisfaction, how would you measure that with the exception of the kind of employee health report that comes out maybe once or twice a year? How do you do it in a way that's more real time and more objective? And this is where Medici stepped in. We, again, provide passive collection of data based on how you work. We take that information and we turn it into kind of a dashboard of these are the types of projects I like. These are the types of teams that I like to work on. Here are the things that I'm successful at. Here's kind of my on-time delivery. And here's my sentiment at the completion of a particular project. So you start to build over time a profile of not just an employee, but also of teams, so that they can then understand where they're doing well, where they're not doing well. And from a management perspective, it also gives you much more of a real-time view left to right in your organization in terms of how people are not just performing, which is super important in a distributed world, but also sentiment.
So DS, what are people paying you on average per month to use this technology?
So right now, the pilots that we're still running are, there's a per seat license, And then we have what we call a management dashboard, which will give you a very deep dive view into employee behavior. We use about 18 different attributes to come up with some objective analytics that predict things like inclusion, predict things like on-time delivery.
Yeah, DS, I totally get the product. You're in a very hot space. That makes total sense to me. But I'm curious, are we talking like $6,000 pilots or $60,000 pilots? What's the average customer paying for a pilot?
The average pilot is between 5 and 10.
Okay, and are they paying one time or is it monthly recurring, like an ACV?
It's monthly recurring. It's monthly recurring.
So $5K a month or $5K for a year?
$5K for the time of the product beta, which is typically 3 months.
Okay, so they're paying about $2,000 a month if they continue past the pilot.
Yeah, based on, and that's assuming a certain type of size, and that's typically under 100. But yeah.
Okay, and talk to me about how many pilots you're running today.
Today we've got 3.
3 pilots. Okay, got it. So there's about 15K there in like total pilot revenue, right? How do you? I mean, you've had this since 2016 though, right? So like people listening are going to wonder like, wait, hold on. Is he doing this full time? Like, how's he paying his bills? Like, why isn't this growing faster? Why are you still in pilots in month 6 or year 6?
That is a great question. 2 years ago, we kind of took a step back and did a redesign and rethunk how we wanted to go to market in terms of our target audience based on feedback. And so that took a lot longer than we thought it would. And yes, I'm very cognizant of the fact that, we're not the typical, 6 months and we're out the door and then we've launched and then we've hit the hockey stick. But we're
not looking for a hockey stick in every business. Every business isn't going to hockey stick. You can build a great lifestyle business, but this is like 6 years and you still don't have 10 paying customers that love your product and 10 true fans. Are you doing this on the side or is this full time? Like, how are you sort of supporting yourself, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure. I am still working at Zillow and running campaign strategy there. So that might have something to do with the fact that we're just moving a little bit slower. We've also turned down funding 3 times. And that's primarily because we just felt like we needed to hit product marketing fit before we took money. And we didn't want to take money for figuring out the business and figuring out where we fit.
In general, I think that's really smart. You'd be in a worse position if you took money and then you have to deal with board and slow growth and, you'd have to quit Zillow. But why not? I mean, if you believe in this, it's been 6 years. Why not quit Zillow and go all in on this thing?
Exploring that now. As a matter of fact, when I get back from vacation, I will be having a conversation with the next COO of WPP and getting some guidance around how to add the right set of folks to help push us over the hump. So we're actively in that discussion mode right now.
Okay, so 3 customers on the pilots, which is nice. You're learning from those folks. There's 2 of you in the company. Now, did you guys just split equity 50-50 at the start?
Actually, we didn't, because I started the company prior to my co-founder coming on board. So it's not a 50-50 split. He was working on something similar with a friend, but they could never kind of get it finished and over the hump. And so he ended up coming over to Medici. So we didn't have a 50-50 split. But yeah.
So DS, how much more do you own? 60, 70, 80%?
About that. About that.
We'll go in the middle. 80 plus.
80 plus.
Fair enough. But what, so, I understand you're having a conversation with your advisors at WPP, but like ultimately you have to drive the execution here, right? So where's the growth going to come from? Where are your next 10 pilots going to come from, you think?
So what we're thinking right now is white labeling and working with complementary partners and ecosystems that require a distributed productivity tool, but don't want to spend the time and the resources making it because that's not their core strength. This is something that is going to be complementary to what they already have. And we're also looking at communities, like, for example, say digital nomads, for example. There's no tool for a digital nomad or community of nomads that they Slack for sure. But after that, they use a variety of tools. What if they can all use one tool? And what if they can all potentially monetize it? So we're looking at that as well.
All right, DS, on that note, let's wrap up here with the famous five. Number one, what's your favorite book?
My favorite book, Blue Oceans.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I would say Rich Barton of Zillow. I would say Bill Gates and perhaps Jeff Bezos.
Number three, DS, what's your favorite online tool for building the company besides your own?
Let's see. My number one choice would be Medici. My number two choice would be Medici. My third choice would be Slack, if only because it's ubiquitous and everyone uses it.
Number
so
four,
it's a lot easier to communicate. Yeah.
How many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Not enough, but I'm learning that I can get all the sleep I need when I die.
So how much sleep are you getting right now?
Literally. I'm trying to get six hours.
Okay, great. And what's your situation? Married, single, kiddos?
Single.
Okay, no kids running around?
One daughter.
Well, okay, one daughter. Very good.
One daughter, and she's in New York. She's an adult now.
Very cool. And how old are you, DS?
Me? I am over 40.
Over 40. Last question. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
Where to invest in tech.
Guys, there you have it. Medici playing in a very exciting space, collaborative work platform that enables you to make better decisions about your team, about your people. Launched sort of soft launch in 2016. He's still got a full-time job though here 6 years later. This co-founder owns over 80% of the business, but they do have 3 pilots, call it $15,000 in revenue, looking to scale here. They spent about $100,000 to get the MVP off the ground. Again, hoping these pilots turn out nice and they can convert it into monthly recurring revenue. DS, we are rooting for you, my man. Thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers. They try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.